This is CBN NewsWatch.
Hello, everyone. Thank you so much for joining us for CBN NewsWatch. I'm George Thomas. A powerful new White House council aims to promote gender ideology across the federal government. The Biden administration officially announced the council on Monday. Our senior national affairs correspondent, Heather Sells, joins me now for more. So, Heather, the announcement came on International Women's Day, but it sounds like the council actually threatens women's rights. Tell us more.
That's right, George. The big new terms are gender identity and gender equity. But really what's going on is everyone defining their gender as they see fit.
We'll be working urgently to ensure that both here in the United States and globally, gender and gender identity do not predetermine opportunity and outcomes, and that all people, including women and girls and those who face other forms of discrimination, can thrive.
Jennifer Klein, the new head of the Gender Policy Council, says the council will promote gender and gender identity. Attorney Mary Hassan, a fellow at the Ethics and Public Policy Center, says it's part of a new social construct that's confusing at best and harmful for society.
It's deceptive because most people still, when they hear gender, they think you're talking about males and females, and that's not at all what this administration means. So what they are intending to do is to elevate this concept of gender identity above females, above sex-based rights, basically eliminating that as a meaningful concept across the government.
The new council will work with all federal agencies and departments to advance this gender ideology.
So the programs that were meant to advance females, to encourage girls, for example, to be involved in STEM activities and all those things, really now are going to be programs that are measured by how well they include people who identify in other ways.
So, Heather, this sounds like it's bad news for women and girls, right?
Right, which is so ironic because they announced it on International Women's Day, George. But it's really including everyone in these concepts. And so it means you no longer have women's personal spaces in sports the way we've known them. This council is going to work with not just domestic agencies, but partners or departments that function around the world, like the State Department. So its scope could be really wide-ranging. So far, we're not hearing a lot from feminist groups. And it's very interesting, George, because it seems that they really have been co-opted by this progressive ideology.
All right, terrific. Heather, thank you for that report. Appreciate it. Meanwhile, California lawmakers are considering a bill mandating how children's products are displayed in large department stores. It would force retailers to offer toys, clothing, and other kid-oriented items in gender-neutral fashion, or face $1,000 fine. Products would have to be together instead of separate boys and girls sections, and online stores would have to have separate pages for kids, unisex, or gender neutral. On the COVID-19 front, 60 million Americans have received at least one dose of a coronavirus vaccine so far. The shots are being given at an average pace of more than 2 million doses each day. New research shows the Pfizer vaccine appears to protect against the Brazil variant. That variant has been shown to be more contagious than the original COVID strain and has caused people who recovered from it to become reinfected with that particular variant. Meanwhile, Israel announced they're giving their excess COVID vaccines to other countries with whom they have a friendly relationship. The surge in the number of migrants at the border is now so serious that the Secretary of Homeland Security is begging for volunteers to go help at the border. CBN contributor Chuck Holton is tracking their journey through miles of dangerous territory.
Hundreds of migrants arrive every day, already exhausted from their journey, many with small children in tow. Many left their home countries years ago, looking for a better life. But now they believe it's time to try their luck at getting to the United States. The northward flow has all but stopped since last March when the pandemic hit, and most countries in Latin America still have COVID restrictions in place. But with a new American administration widely seen as welcoming all comers, the pressure to fill the human pipeline has become too great. And a pent-up surge of humanity is now again looking to make it to America's shores. Most migrants who join the well-publicized caravans start from Central America, but the pipeline starts much further south. People are coming from all across the globe, ostensibly fleeing violence and oppression. But they often pass through a dozen or so non-violent countries on their way to the United States, like this Sikh man from India.
India to Amsterdam, Amsterdam to Suriname, Suriname to by bus Brazil, Peru, Ecuador, Ecuador to Colombia.
In this group, we found migrants from Turkey, Nepal, India, and Africa, though the biggest number were from Haiti. That will require trekking through the forbidding Darien Gap between Colombia and Panama. I spent 2 days trying to catch up with some of these migrants as they traversed this very dangerous area without much success. I've been walking the Darien Gap Trail now for over an hour, up and down these hills. It's incredibly hot. I feel like I've been standing in a warm shower. It's just kind of hard to even describe how miserable it is, and I'm unencumbered. Imagine being out here with a baby or pregnant or even in a wheelchair. I've seen all three of those things with the migrants in the last 24 hours. They're actually doing that. And it's because they have no idea. The smugglers that bring them through here lie to them about how long this is and how difficult this is. And that's why many of them end up dying along the way. I found this smuggler, but he refused to take me to where the migrants were in the jungle. He said they are well cared for.
They're privileged, and we never treated them badly. It's only 4 days to the camps in Panama.
After 2 days of searching, I finally found the right place. But then I was immediately surrounded by angry smugglers. These migrants are starting their hike now, but the smugglers are telling me I can't go any further. They're telling me I can't go any further here, and they're telling me I got to leave. They don't want me filming this. They obviously don't want this story coming out. So, Entonces, está bien. Okay, sí, está bien. As the threats became more intense, it was clearly time to leave. So I caught a ride with a teenager on a motorbike. And that's when I realized why the smugglers don't want this story to get out. More than 10,000 migrants will likely pass through this tiny village this year. It's big business, which is why all the guides tend to have a brand new motorcycle. From Cartagena, Colombia, I'm Chuck Holton for CBN News.
Chuck Holton joins me now from Cartagena, Colombia. Chuck, what kind of movement are you seeing heading north, and are the numbers rising?
Yes, they are, George. The people in the Darien Gap region of between Colombia and Panama are telling me that they're seeing numbers go from about 800 a month to 800 a week ever since Joe Biden got elected. And the flow is coming from all over the world. Now, these people are entering the Darien Gap, that 60-mile jungle that separates Colombia from Panama with no roads, and they have to walk through there. It takes them about 6 days to get through that gap. And one thing's in common. What we're hearing from the migrants that are going through is that the reason they're going now, many of them have actually been living outside of the country that they fled for years, but they've decided to go to the United States now because Joe Biden is president and because their relatives and friends in the United States are calling and encouraging them to come now.
And now, obviously, you know, we're talking about people who are from South America, Latin America, but are there other countries represented as well in this migrant flow?
Well, actually, I didn't run into very many people at all from Latin America except for Ecuadorians. There were some, I guess there were some Cubans. The majority of people coming through right now are from Haiti, but we also met people from all over Africa, the Middle East, Bangladesh, Nepal. It's coming from really all over the world. And I think those numbers are only going to rise as this pipeline gets restarted. If you remember, all of the countries of Latin America have been shut down because of the COVID virus, and many of them still are, but they're starting to just turn a blind eye to these migrants at this point.
The Biden administration just extended temporary protected status to Venezuelan migrants. Do you think that will have an immediate effect on Venezuelans in Colombia?
Well, there are tons of Venezuelans around here, us in Cartagena. As a matter of fact, just setting up for this shot, we're being accosted by hundreds of them as they just keep coming by trying to sell things. There's a lot of prostitutes here from Venezuela, and you can't blame them. They tell us there's no jobs, there's no opportunity, there's no food in Venezuela, and so they have to leave. Colombia has probably 2 million Venezuelans, but I doubt that a lot of those will come to the United States right away because Colombia itself just extended amnesty to them and will allow them to work here. Many of them that I talked to hope that they'll be able to go back to Venezuela, so they don't want to go all the way to the States. But there's no doubt that many more will leave Venezuela now that they can get temporary protected status in the United States and will start making that trek north.
Okay, and real quickly, 30 seconds, that trek north is not an easy trek, right, Chuck?
You know, a lot of people that go into the Darien Gap die along the way. And it was so sad just a couple days ago when I was there watching these people go trekking into the jungle. They wouldn't believe me when I told them it would take 7 days. They didn't have enough food. They didn't have enough water. They were carrying babies. I saw dozens of little babies going in there, and even a woman in a wheelchair who thought she could make it through. It's really sad to watch somebody basically marching off to their death. And knowing that they're probably not going to make it out the other side.
Yeah, okay, terrific. Chuck, we'll have to leave it there. Thank you so much for your insights and for your excellent reporting. Stay safe.
Thank you.
The Supreme Court on Monday ruled in favor of a former Georgia college student who sued his school 4 years ago after officials prevented him from distributing Christian literature on campus. The High Court sided 8-1 with student Chike Uzogbunam and against Georgia Gwinnett College. The case involved whether or not his suit could continue because he was only seeking small damages, $1. Justice Clarence Thomas wrote that Uzogbunam's rights had been violated. Officials told him to stop preaching on campus because someone had complained. He said, quote, college officials didn't really care about where I was standing. They just didn't like what I was saying. So they invoked these policies to silence me. The school has since changed its policies. Coming up, an investigation finds several historically Christian colleges and universities connected to Planned Parenthood. That story in a moment.
Hey, if you're tired and exhausted all day, you can't think clearly, and you really just need a cup or even a pot of coffee to get through your day, then join me, Dr. Josh Axe, for this new series where I'm going to teach you how to transform your diet and use essential oils and supplements to get a better night's sleep.
Wake up to your best life. Call 1-800-700-7000 to get your free DVD or booklet of Protect Your Sleep today.
It's about the competition.
I kind of put that pressure on myself, and I think people had expectations.
It's about overcoming.
We use this phrase all the time, keep chopping, keep practicing hard.
It's about going the distance.
You know, I think as a father, it's my job, to lead. Just be the best husband and father I can be.
Watch Going the Distance with Sean Brown Saturday night at 7:30 on the CBN News Channel.
Orphans Promise is committed to loving and serving at-risk children, to helping keep families together, and to creating opportunities for strong and sustainable communities around the world. We're working in over 60 countries around the world, and with your help, we can do even more. There's an old African proverb I love that says, if you want to run fast, run alone. But if you want to run far, run together. At Orphans Promise, we want to run far so we can touch the lives of as many orphaned and vulnerable children as possible. But we don't want to go alone. We're out to change the world, one child, one family, one community at a time. Will you join us?
Welcome back to the CBN News broadcast. Students for Life released its first list of Christian colleges and universities connected to Planned Parenthood. The pro-life group's ongoing investigation of more than 700 institutions found 25 historically Christian schools quietly partnering with Planned Parenthood through student resources, careers, and internships. Two of those schools on the list cut ties with the abortion group after being contacted by pro-life advocates. Christy Hamrick with Students for Life joins me now for more. Christy, thanks for coming on the broadcast. What type of Planned Parenthood connections are you finding at these historically Christian colleges?
Well, I think people need to know there are around 900 faith-based universities and colleges around the country. So far, we've examined 600 and found Planned Parenthood ties on about 100 campuses. And this is not a gotcha report. This has been something we've been working on for more than a year, and we're going to unveil more of our information between now and August. We announced 25 of the names so far, and what happened in the process is we determined and verified that Planned Parenthood had a role on the campuses. Generally, it was very insidious. Maybe they snuck into student affairs and offered an internship. Maybe they managed to get their Planned Parenthood vendor named as a student healthcare clinic in the region. Maybe they offered parties or events at the Planned Parenthood. Some of them tried to come on campus. So there were variations on a theme. And what was interesting is when we reached out to some of these Christian colleges and universities, oftentimes we found people were surprised. Again, Planned Parenthood has been insidious in infiltrating government programs, healthcare, popular culture, and Christian colleges and universities. So we're going to reach out to secular colleges as well, but we wanted to start in the community of faith, and so that's where we began. So in these communities of faith, specifically these schools, they're not really traditionally Christian anymore, but were founded as Christian colleges. Do they allow for, allow students for life or pro-life groups on campus? Well, that is an ongoing battle, and it's funny that you should say that. Students for Life has more than 1,250 groups in all 50 states across the country, and we often find that Christian colleges and universities are some of the most difficult to work with. They really have a high barrier to entry. And at Students for Life, we like to say that we are the people who exercise our free speech rights and are the source of a lot of the ongoing lawsuits. So you're correct that there's a barrier to entry, and yet these schools fundraise from a faith-based perspective. They talk to their alumni and parents about the values that they profess, and we are saying we will hold you accountable to that. You say that you have a values environment, then let's put our money where your mouths are, and let's make sure that Planned Parenthood is not infiltrating our schools and basically then indoctrinating students. Students for Life had a poll that we released earlier this year, and we found that only 2 in 10 students even knew about their Title IX rights when pregnant and parenting, and only about 45% had even heard of any resources for pregnant and parenting students on campuses. And that's a lot of students because 1 in 5 students is pregnant and parenting. And if Planned Parenthood is on our Christian schools, talking to people about the resources that they have, as in life-ending, death-providing resources, that's a problem. Okay, Christy, we'll have to leave it there. Thank you so much for coming on the broadcast. Still ahead, folks, a disturbing revelation about the true intentions of genocide by China against a Muslim people group. That story in a moment.
Daddy?
Yeah, buddy?
How many nickels are in a dollar?
There are 20 nickels in a dollar.
How do birds fly? Does milk really make my bones stronger?
Yeah.
Daddy, when we die, will we go to heaven?
Do you have the answer to life's biggest question? Call the 700 Club. We'll help you find answers to the important questions life brings your way.
Watch breaking news, in-depth exclusive stories and programs from health to entertainment you won't find anywhere else. The CBN News Channel, a perspective you can trust. Enjoy credible news reporting from around the world. Discover inspiring programs and stories of hope, all in one place from a Christian perspective. The CBN News Channel, a perspective you can trust. To watch the CBN News Channel, download the app or visit cbnnewschannel.com.
Hello, I'm Dr. David Perlmutter, board-certified neurologist and #1 New York Times bestselling author. Wouldn't it be great to boost your energy, eliminate brain fog, and even reverse brain disease? Well, you can, and I'm going to show you how along with some of the world's most well-respected brain experts in this DVD, Protect Your Brain.
Get Protect Your Brain, a free DVD only from the Christian Broadcasting Network, featuring experts on the cutting edge of neuroscience and brain health.
No matter how many times you've failed in the past, you really can do this.
In Protect Your Brain, you'll discover simple strategies to keep your brain young and healthy. Improve your memory. Discover the gut-brain connection. In Protect Your Brain, get your free copy at cbn.com or call 1-800-700-7000.
If you want to improve the quality of your life, get the DVD Protect Your Brain and get it today.
Welcome back. A stunning report out today claims that China is committing acts of genocide against millions of Muslims. The Newsline Institute for Strategy and Policy says it has clear and convincing evidence that Beijing is intent on destroying the Uyghur population. Some 12 million Uyghurs, mostly Muslim, live in the northwest part of China. Beijing has cracked down on the minority group since 2014 as part of their campaign of mass murder and imprisonment. The report says China's Communist Party bears responsibility for carrying out the genocide against the Uyghurs. Joining me now is Dr. Azim Ibrahim, co-author of this new report. Dr. Ibrahim, great to have you on the broadcast. Can you describe the evidence that you found that implicates China for committing genocide against the Uyghur people?
Well, thanks so much for having me, George. Well, the evidence is actually overwhelming, and much of it is actually in the public domain. But we used extensive testimonials, victim testimonials, former detainees, over 10,000 of them, and we corroborated that with the government, Chinese government's own official policies, official mandates, and official diktats that arrived from the Communist Party. And we married them together, and the evidence is overwhelming that China is clearly in breach of the 1948 Genocide Convention.
Why is Beijing intent on destroying the Uyghurs?
Well, this is principally instigated by Xi Jinping himself, the leader of China. You know, he himself is less of a communist and more of a Han nationalist. You know, he is in the process of trying to signification of the entire country. And it's not just the Uyghurs that are Muslims, they are the most prominent ones, but there's actually other minorities too. There's Kazakhs, there's Uzbeks, etc. And even actually Christian minorities, they have a process of bulldozing down churches in China as well. So he's of the belief that the Han nationalism should be the prevailing ethnicity throughout China.
And part of that signification, we now know, according to your reporting, between 1 million and 2 million people are being detained in these internment camps across Xinjiang province. What is happening inside these camps? And I'm sure some of it is brainwashing, right?
It's complete brainwashing. You know, there's lots of torture going on in these camps. You know, forced sterilization, which is actually a form of genocide as well in terms of stopping a group from reproducing. The separation, taking children away from their parents. So these camps are set up as education camps, but the reality is that nobody has full knowledge of what's going on inside. We only know from detainees, and there's no other way to describe it except exactly as you did, as concentration camps.
President Biden has described what's happening inside these camps as simply part of China's cultural norms of unifying and controlling this vast country. What's your response to this claim?
Well, that's certainly not true. You know, Xi Jinping himself has instigated this, and they're using it as a mechanism to essentially wipe out Uyghur identity in its entirety. And they're doing this through multiple mechanisms, forced sterilization and separating parents from the children, etc. So this is not a cultural norm at all. This is a process of wiping out the entire identity of a people.
And when we look at it, thousands of Uyghurs are being moved from Xinjiang province to the rest of the country. Again, part of that campaign to Hanifize the country, right?
Yeah, absolutely. And at the same time, you know, Han Chinese are actually being moved from other parts of China into Xinjiang, and they're encouraged to, in many cases, forcibly marry Uyghur women to essentially dilute their identity through their offspring. So this is a very calculated and thought-out process from the state apparatus in China.
152 countries, including China, have signed the UN Genocide Convention. Do these countries, including the United States, have a responsibility to act against China in light of your report?
Absolutely. Every country has an individual responsibility itself to look at this and take its appropriate action. Every country is a state member of the Genocide Convention, including China, and they must act accordingly. Look, the reality is that the Genocide Convention was not there for academic discussions to discuss whether a particular incident was genocide or not after the fact. It is there to prevent. So it's up to the countries to take the appropriate action and deal with China accordingly. And that means not being passive and reassessing all its links with China is the absolute minimum that they could possibly do.
Okay, Dr. Azim, thank you so much for your work on this important matter, and thanks for coming on the broadcast. Coming up next, see how putting faith first can lead to a day full of saying yes. That story in a moment.
I am Region's first ROTC graduate student.
Five, 4, 3, 2, 1. I'm Ephraim Graham. Welcome to Studio 5.
Get on it.
All that's new and now in the world of uplifting entertainment with celebrity interviews.
There's a higher contribution I will make.
Musical performances.
I'll give you my best praise.
Plus movie and TV news.
See it and be uplifted.
On Studio 5. Every Wednesday at 5 p.m. Eastern at cbn.com/Studio 5.
How'd you like to get a redo on your health, on your body, on your arteries, so you could have the energy you had 20 years ago? The great news is you can. I'm Dr. Mike Roizen, chair of the Wellness Institute at the Cleveland Clinic. I've written 4 New York Times bestsellers. But even better than having to read all that, you can listen to this DVD and watch it. Protect your heart? Yes, you can. Here's how.
Go to CBN.com or call 1-800-700-7000 for your free copy of Protect Your Heart. Let the medical experts show you their new discoveries on how to avoid heart disease and even reverse it. Easy steps to uncover the hidden dangers in your medicine cabinet, reduce stress, and get a complete do-over for your health. Call 1-800-700-7000. That's 1-800-700-7000. Or go to CBN.com to claim your free copy of Protect Your Heart.
This actress and mother of 3 is showing the benefits of saying yes to her children more in a new Netflix movie. Jennifer Garner produced and starred in Yes Day, a film about letting children make rules for the day and sharing positive experiences with their parents.
We wouldn't even drive anywhere. They just wanted to feel what it was like to do all the windows by themselves. And it's always something silly that you don't expect. You might have to help them think of it, though.
The movie is based on a book series by the same name that inspired Garner to make more time for her kids. Garner said singing with her children on the way to church is one joyful way she starts the week off right. Well, folks, that's it for this edition of CBN Newswatch. We hope you'll join us again next time. Have a great day.